Call to order the City of Twin Oaks Board of Aldermen meeting for August the 5th, 2026. Please stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call roll, please.
Sure. Alderman Stokel.
Here.
Alderman Crawford.
Here.
Alderman Eisenhower. Here. Mayor Fortune.
Here. The agenda's been posted for tonight's meeting. If there are no amendments, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Move we approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda is approved. Any citizen comments at this time? Paul Brockman?
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the board for all your earnest efforts over the past couple of years going after the money for these different projects within the city here, because if you don't go after it, somebody else is always going to get it instead of you. So it's good to have that money and make the improvements in the city. I'd also want to commend you for efforts within the right-of-ways, especially Big Bend and 141. I believe you fertilized the bald cypress trees, and you were mowing all the grasses and everything else like that. What I would like to do is ask you to maybe step up your game just a little bit in the care of the public right-of-ways of the village. And by that I mean you're already paying for mowing grass and things like that that maybe other municipalities wouldn't pay for. And it pays off just in the looks of the nice cut grass along the right-of-ways here. But things are really looking good, but I think with a few more tweaks that could even jump some more. And some of the things that I'm thinking about is that many years ago, the village city painted all the bases of the street lights and things like that. And many of them are black, but it's faded, it's chipped off. And then we've had many new additions over the years. And anything that's a street light, light pole, traffic signal, traffic control boxes, anything like that, I strongly suggest you paint them black. And it will really make everything within the city stand out quite a bit. The other thing that I think will help a lot is to spend a little time and money cleaning the fence rows and the guardrails and things like that. There's a lot of volunteer trees that are growing up, and I've seen one or two of the trees disappear, but especially when you go northbound on 141 from Big Bend, there's a fence section there, about 50 feet of chain link fence that's got this vine. It's just over-encompassing it. Some people maybe think it looks great. I think it looks like an eyesore myself. And I'm just off the talk here for a minute. Did a mower crash into that and cause that damage?
No, from the parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh, in the parking lot.
Yeah, it went from out here down toward
Okay,
141.
interesting.
It was a dog in the car, they said.
The dog
They
did
were
it?
shopping.
The dog did it?
Apparently there was a dog in the car that they said somehow
Got
put it in
it. I
gear.
understand. Okay.
Yeah, that was the excuse.
The other thing that would help is there's a lot of volunteers, trees starting to grow up with inside the pine trees and things like that. It's especially noticeable in the northwest corner over here, and then on the trees down by across from the cell tower, and there's probably other places as well. The one over here on the northwest corner, that's really going to be kind of dicey because the fence row the property fence row is getting bad. You'll notice the vines are already starting to go up the electric pole and things like that. That kind of looks old fashioned down in the city or something, and they have vines growing up the electric pole. And then one other thing is that when 141 was built, and they do this for all the different intersections, and I think it's more a concrete wall treatment ceiling for the concrete, but the concrete walls on all the ramps when you get on to 141 or get off used to be white. Highway Department painted them white, and if we could paint them white again, whether it's for ceiling purposes or just a visual, it would.
Where is that now?
When you, well, for example, if you go southbound you're going west and you go southbound on 141, that concrete wall that follows you around the curve for 50 feet or however it was, that face of that wall facing the traffic was painted white initially when the intersection was built. If you could do it on all four ramps on or off ramps here. It would again make those walls pop and look a lot better. And I'm sure there's other things that I haven't talked about that could, make things pop a little bit more. Also, I would not expect Jake and his crew to take this on, but rather that you would contract this work out. I mean, it's not huge, but he's got other things to do besides do this. And I think that, I'm just guessing, but I think they're probably talking 40 to 50,000 if you put all this together. It might not even be that much. I really don't know. But I think that you've got plenty of money. If you've got over a 700-day reserve, you've got money to do this kind of thing, to make these kinds of improvements here in the city. So, and then one other thing I just want to mention is I noticed on the survey for the sidewalk on Old 141 South, you're doing a detailed survey, which you need to for the sidewalk, but only on the west side of Old 141. And I'm just suggesting, I'm not saying you should, but I realize you can't put it in this project or pay for it out of your own pocket, but maybe you want to do a survey while they're out there on the east side rather, of 141, because that's within the village purview to maintain. And the reason we took over 141 was to control the right of way. So maybe you want to go ahead and document those on the east side. I realize you're not going to do any construction over there, but it might be worth spending $20,000 or whatever it is extra to do survey for that, so that you have that documentation of what's there and existing in case somebody ever comes up. And people might not even realize it belongs to the village, and we have a control over the city, I say.
Yeah.
So
I have a question for
Sure.
you. Going back to your time on the board, and I think you were on the board when 141 went through, in the intersection up here. I know we, as a village back then, got some approvals from MoDOT to enhance the 141 bridge area up there. Did we have any maintenance agreements with MoDOT at that time that we could do any work up there?
I don't recall that we did. We applied for a separate grant for enhancements, landscaping. And you maybe have to go back and read that grant and see what the word verbiage was. In that
Yeah,
grant.
because if you drive down Big Bend right now, you see is a big chunk of concrete
Right.
knocked out.
Well, no, I don't think we had any obligation to infrastructure roadway improvements. It would only have been landscaping.
And I was just wondering, I know that we've painted the signals,
Right.
everything over there, but as far as the striping and painting on that bridge area, I just
I think
wondered-
that's all on MoDOT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's on MoDOT.
Just like it is at the intersection up here too. We have a offset with MoDOT, like 120 feet back on Old 141 North and South, that they're responsible for maintaining.
With St. Louis County, you mean? St. Louis
Or
County.
St. Louis
does
County,
put that.
one of the
Yeah.
two, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
I hope that stuff over there doesn't mean that those votes weren't counted.
Don't start rumors.
Okay, consent agenda. We have Board of Aldermen regular meeting minutes from July the 15th. Bills list July 11th to July 31st. Credit card statement for the month of July 2026.
Move we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. John, police report.
All right, for the month of July, we had 38 radio calls, 153 self-initiated, we generated 9 reports, 12 traffic stops, 6 auto crashes, mainly at Big Bend 141, the rest were on parking lots. We had 3 crimes recorded, 2 were a violation of court order and a fraud at the bank, and I logged about 26 hours on the bike. Questions?
No questions, thank you. Okay, discussion item, we had a planning and zoning meeting, I think Lisa, you missed
I
that one?
missed it. Sorry.
And we reviewed the single-family site development plan process. And the commission has come back with, it's going to be coming back with some recommendations on that process to, recommendations are to actually, I think, have a clearer definition as to exactly what we're having the planning and zoning commission look at when they review. So who wants to go over that, Paul? You want to go over the changes?
Sure, I will. P and Z was, they were kind of talking about the process and wondering out loud what exactly their role was in this whole thing. Because if somebody submitted a site plan that met all our requirements for a site plan, then it technically should get approved. And so through discussions, it kind of came out that really the main thing they'd be looking at is the more esoteric issues of whether it complies with the urban design guidelines, which are a little bit more, well, the legal term would be squishy. And so the squishy ones are, so they wanted to clarify that that's what really P and Z and the board's role is to kind of make sure that after they meet everything that's pretty much objective on-off switch, kind of, yes, it needs setbacks, yes, it's not too tall, and, yes, it fits on the lot properly. After they made all that, then it would go to P and Z to kind of look at whether or not this thing, what kind of brick are they, or is it brick, or is it some kind of vinyl siding or whatever. And so then get into those kinds of things. And I don't think that the P and Z thinks that there'll be a whole bunch of issues with that, but at least that's what they now understand. Okay, that's what we'd be looking at. We now understand our role, and so we want to put it in writing. That's what our role is, and so that's kind of what this does. And anything you want to add?
I will add that it's not part of our code, but part of our process definition that we have been requiring 18 copies of drawings.
Ouch.
And we've now reduced that down to one plus an electronic version, which is what other cities are doing as well.
I think that's from years gone by when
Oh, yeah,
every member
sure.
of P and Z wanted their own hard copy
Sure.
to take home and study. Yeah.
And P and Z thoroughly agreed they all don't need their own
Yeah.
copy, and
Yeah.
that's not necessary. Let's not do that.
Right.
And, but they said, we understand that's something that can be handled internally, administratively, so they didn't have to pass on that. But they were just like, yeah, feel free to lower that, don't make a bunch of copies. So, and the other big thing was that you were talking about there was a discussion about the public hearing and whether a public hearing was necessary, and, not necessarily legally, but should we do it or not? And then do we really need to put it in the newspaper, or can it just be posted on the property? And by the end of it, it was, let's just post it on the property, because it's really a neighborhood thing anyway. And the people who care will see it, and they can come on and voice any concerns or support if they want to.
Plus nobody gets a newspaper anymore.
Exactly, plus nobody gets it.
Was this meeting in response to the citizen we had that was complaining about our
It
process?
was in response to a study. First of all, it was triggered by a couple different architects that said, man, your process is really difficult. And so I went out and I looked at all the neighboring communities, and I found while we weren't that far different, there were some areas where we were. And one of them was, the big one was the 18 copies, but the big one was, once the application is made with all of the drawings and it's reviewed by BFA and staff, and it meets all of the requirements, then there was no need for it to go to planning and zoning, who would sit and look at all the wiring diagrams and the curb cuts, and it was just adding a lot of time to the process. So if it was already meeting all the requirements when it went there, we didn't really need him to review it again. So it was just trying to take a little bit of the redundancy out of the process.
That's fair.
And also, the public hearing, I raised that issue. I said, I understand for commercial properties, things like that, the public really does need an input, but do they really need an input to criticize the design of my house, even though it's meeting all the guidelines?
Right.
So,
And will this streamline it, because it doesn't wind up at P and Z at a point at which P and Z is doing nothing but rubber stamping it? I mean, is that the whole?
This gives them
the whole-
something specific to look at where it's
Right.
not just a rubber stamp. They can offer feedback based on the urban design guidelines.
and P and Z liked it from the standpoint that they now understand what they're supposed to be
Mhm.
looking at.
Mhm.
Whereas before, going through all of the drawings and checking everything and.
Right.
They did discuss whether to eliminate the P and Z step at all for some of these standard things, but all of P and Z felt like they wanted to still be able to review something. So,
Right, because
Yeah.
the city engineer, BFA, they'll look at those things and kind of say, I don't think this meets it or it meets it, but they don't want to make that call.
yeah.
And so that's why it needs to come to
Sure.
P and Z.
Yep.
It's like, they'll point out that this may or may not be, drive it, maybe not the kind of stuff you want on, so it's that kind of stuff. So that they, after a long discussion, that's what they landed on, saying, well, if we have a role in this at all, it's kind of, we'll look at these guidelines and make sure that those are being followed.
It was a long discussion.
Mhm. Oh, sure. I'm sure.
So if the board wants to move forward with this, we'll have to have a public hearing, and then that would be at our next, we could publish that, and then it would be at the next meeting on August 26th. Is that right, Paul? If I send it Friday for publication?
Yes, because of the fact that it's pushed off.
Yeah, because we did the later.
Exactly.
Right,
So
yeah.
it'll work,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I just, was there anybody that was objecting to it on the P and Z or?
Not really.
Good.
I mean, we
So we're not
we
looking
had
to fight?
we had to. They asked a lot of questions, and we talked through everything. But I think it was unanimous.
Yeah, I think everybody worked through, at first, there was all kinds of different opinions, but once everybody kind of focused on what the job was, then it was kind of like, oh yeah, this makes sense then. So we'll bring it back in ordinance form or whatever.
So you have in Dropbox what Paul has already drafted for the changes, so you can review those if you have any questions about that. That'll be at the next meeting.
Okay. No old business, no new business. Attorney's report.
Working on some revisions to the site development plan process. Other than that, I have no report.
City administrative report.
Okay, I have lots.
You have lots.
I always do. Okay,
Can
so
I
first,
do we have any idea if we developed every piece of available property, how many houses we could build into a house?
No, because it would depend on how you sublet those properties.
yeah, some things
But
could
even
be
those,
divided.
There's rules about that, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right, but still, like, I mean, one of them could do, 2 or 3 houses and a little thing over there if you bought the right properties.
Do we think it's more than 10?
That could be built in addition
Oh, yeah.
to, I
Yeah.
can't imagine that it's more than 10.
Yeah, word.
Really? You think so? Really? I
Where?
think not.
Where are you putting them?
Well, I'm putting them in Old Town.
oh,
Oh, if somebody bought up all of Old Town?
like if they were buying lots over in Old Town and.
You're talking about
Yeah.
tear downs.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's a new development.
Yeah.
I got it.
For
I just
sure,
meant
yeah.
available land.
Yeah,
Like
not very
more
many.
open, like where there's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, because of all the infrastructure and right away you have to put in, it would be a tremendous amount of housing that you could fit. I mean, you could sit there and do the density calculation without right of way, but once you take the right of way out, then there's not a whole bunch of room.
Right.
Mhm.
you
Right.
know, to put in a subdivision with a cul-de-sac and houses all around it. 'Cause it's like, yeah, you might not be able to, you've got a pretty big lot size requirement. So, yeah, it wouldn't be a ton of.
It wouldn't be a ton, for sure.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay, so fun stuff first. We found out last week that our Dairy Queen got picked to be visited by the Savannah Bananas, and so they are hosting a big
Party.
event Yeah, very exciting.
Seriously, is the whole team coming?
No, a few players. I don't know how many. She didn't say, but they're doing a big event. I mean, they're expecting hundreds of people over there. They're getting
Must be a
porta
big
potties,
sponsor.
the whole thing. Yeah, Dairy
Very
Queen has a
cool.
partnership with Savannah Bananas. So the franchisee came over. She was super nice, told us all about it. They were very excited that their franchise got chosen, you know. So that's August 20th from 6:30 to 8:30 if you want to mark your calendars and see the Savannah Bananas. Also, if anybody asks, we did have mosquito spraying. So the county has gone to a new procedure where they will not spray any neighborhoods unless there has been West Nile virus detected. And so there has been, and so we did get sprayed on the 26th in the evening.
Wow.
So if anybody asks, they do not do regular spraying unless there has been West Nile, because they've had so many requests for people to skip their house, or they're worried about the pesticides, so they've just gone to a more streamlined process. So, but we did get sprayed. We do have some to talk to you guys about some potential changes to the volunteer appreciation party. I may toss this over to Paula and let her talk about it, but we've had a meeting with Bartolinos, with Angela from Bartolinos about that, and I think we all felt, and we are feeling like we're a little bit outgrowing that one room. So we have some options to consider if we would like to move the date from the busy holiday December season to January. They would be willing to give us much more of the restaurant at the same minimum cost so that we could spread out more. So we could either do 2 rooms, we could do, have the buffet out, we could take over the bar. She gave us lots of options, but that would mean moving it to January. So something that the board can discuss how they feel about
Do it.
it not being a holiday party anymore and it being more like post-holiday volunteer appreciation.
I think in the middle of December, everybody is running around like chickens with their heads cut off anyway, with enough dinners to go to.
I mean, I'm not opposed
My
to it.
opinion is moving.
My
into January
husband's
would be
usually, I mean, we have to pick one or the other.
Yeah, a lot of people.
We just separate.
Yeah.
Like, so he doesn't get to come at least every other year.
Yeah.
Because his party winds up being on the same night. Because that timing of when we do it
Mhm.
is like the prime timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not,
Anybody else want to weigh in? We had a potential date, didn't we? The 20th of January?
I would have to look at the calendar, but yes, that third week,
Yeah.
I think it was the
third
20th.
Wednesday,
I
which
think it was
would
the
be our
20th.
second meeting in January, that we could do that.
So if the board is all amenable to that, we will move forward with her and let her know that we'll move to January. And
you didn't say nothing. You've been too quiet over there. You haven't even voted yet. He's just attempting to get through a meeting with saying 0.
yeah.
I think it's yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Thank you for that.
The 20th of January.
Okay, so we will move forward with that.
Do we need a motion for that?
Not really.
No, it'll be in the minutes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll put it in minutes. Okay, so park project updates. As you know, we are trying to get that park lighting accomplished. So they are working in the park. They have been the last several days. We're still on big delay. I will keep you guys posted on that, but it's just sort of been one excuse after another, and all due to that subcontractor that we were all concerned about at the beginning. So they are trying. Jake is monitoring them daily, and we're trying to get that completed. The other big thing that I wanted to share was about the park access pedestrian improvement project. I would really like to see us, I've had a lot of conversations with Tiffany back and forth, BFA, because we've had so many delays this year and just this year in general. I think we are going to recommend that we move that project, the construction of it, to spring. So it does mean that the park will be closed again in the spring at some point, but we hope for a shorter period of time. But I have concerns about the bid process and getting it out in time for there to be enough competition and for us to get construction started. We already have some major projects going on in the park right now with the asphalt projects. So in the interest of staff's sanity, I would just like to, that's still well within our grant range, and it doesn't change the, that was the initial timeline, and I was pushing VFA to try to get it done this year to minimize park closures, but I just feel like we'll get better, more competitive bids, if we hold off and go to bid this fall and say construction starts when the weather breaks in the spring.
Yeah.
So if everybody on the board is amenable to that.
Yeah.
You thinking about a March?
It would be,
Probably April,
weather
but
dependent,
I mean,
yeah.
just based on
yeah,
March being often rainy.
and we would hope to
Some years
find
it's not,
a short
yeah.
window, we all know how contract windows seem to go for us, but we would do the same thing that we did with the Crescent project, where they would have a certain amount of time within to get it done, and then once they break ground, they have 60 days to complete the project, or whatever it is that BFA determines as that length of time.
That the park could reopen
Correct. So that would potentially mean that we could,
for the
We-
warmer weather time.
yeah, and we could even reopen the park later this year, depending on how we get done with the projects that are going on.
Right, and I mean, while they're doing that entrance road, we will have finished all the internal, so you would
Correct.
still
Yeah.
walking
Yes,
ability,
access. Yes,
which
it would just
obviously
be there.
apparently we're having, I saw on Facebook, we're having
Yeah.
a bit of an issue with.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
But yeah, like,
It
so
would just be the
it
parking
would
lot
just
then.
be that
Yeah.
parking,
Right.
so, which I feel like is less, I'm sure it's disruptive for all the other people, but for us,
Yeah.
those
It would
who
be
live here,
disruptive to rentals would be the biggest thing. We would have a period of time,
Yeah, where that would be a
again, where we
pain
would
in the
not be
booty,
able to
yeah.
take rentals. And
Yeah.
so we probably would
Early
not.
in the season, yeah.
Yeah, when we had any kind of window, we would just not take one. I mean, it'd be a long period where we just couldn't take rentals, because we wouldn't want to take a rental and then cancel it on somebody after the fact when we find the contractors available. So that would be the biggest impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if that's okay with everybody, that's what direction I'm gonna give Tiffany to move forward. They're still on track to get the bid documents out, September, probably October before we get them out, especially if we're not rushing to try to get it done by the end of the year, so. Thank you. And then the other thing I have is, I'm sure you guys all saw that, the park asphalt project is underway, so the tennis court surface has been removed. And they are going to be probably repaving that Monday of next week. So that will be the first part that goes over. It will be just plain asphalt for a number of weeks until the other contractor, the other subcontractor that puts down the actual playable surface can come and do the playable surface, the striping, install the nets, all of that stuff. But they will continue to move on with the park paths. So those will be torn up probably next week sometime, midweek or later, and then paid in the following week. So just be sure and let all your neighbors and everybody know that, yes, you've been able to walk through the park now when it's closed, but when there's hot asphalt and things are milled and torn up, you will not be able to. So we're just trying to really communicate with people. Close means close, because especially when the park paths start getting underway. Then after that's done, they will move on to the basketball court, the installation of the ballards. So we hope to have this all wrapped up by the end of August. So I'm just basically telling everybody, park is completely closed to all visitors until the end of August. So,
If their total job is anything like what they're doing on the tennis court, they're very good.
Okay.
And they're doing a great job. So,
so yeah, that's all I have unless people have questions for me.
I have a question for not specifically you, but when we posted the Facebook post that was, they're doing construction, is it accept, like I answered someone's question about, will there still be tennis or will there only be pickleball?
Yeah.
And then I thought, is that okay?
No, I think you can.
Yeah. I mean, as long as I'm not like giving out state secrets or anything, if I'm just answering a question, like that's,
It's probably more for Paul, but I think you can.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, the only time you don't want to weigh in is if it's something that's like, I think
Controversial.
we all
Yeah.
need to talk before I.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I knew the answer, and I was sitting there, and I was like, I started to type it, and then I was like,
Should I?
should I be saying this?
Yeah.
Can I tie my Rottweiler
Right.
up to the fence?
The answer is no.
Yeah, right, that's true.
I'm gonna go under my super secret. No.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to make sure because I did it, and then I really hadn't asked permission first.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I am just a neighbor, also, right? Like, I am just answering a neighborly question.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Facebook is any kind of official communication,
Right.
really. you
Yeah,
know?
and I wasn't saying I'm an alderman and I know that we're doing X. I just was,
Yeah. Yeah.
me and said what I
Somebody
said.
just wanted to answer.
All right, cool.
Oh, and one last thing, Austin's last day, if you guys got to meet Austin, our seasonal guy, his last day is next Friday, so we will have a little going away luncheon for
Oh,
him.
sweet.
Yeah, so he's moving on to a full-time job, I think, to
Okay.
plumbing or something, plumbing supply, but, yeah, that's all I have unless
I
people
thought he
have.
was in finance.
Yeah, he has an accounting major, I'm not sure
Yeah.
what he's doing with that exactly, but.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
Thank you to the staff for your efforts with the election. I understand it went very smoothly and well organized.
How busy were you?
It was busy,
Very
steady
busy.
all day. I mean, there were people here I thought I was gonna be the first one to vote because I did the early shift and came in early to open up the doors. And I walked out of my office at 6 o'clock to go vote and there were 3 people in front of me, 2 people. I was the 3rd person. So, and it was like that mostly all day. We had lines occasionally, but it was
Yeah,
steady.
when we got here, we were outside the door.
Mhm.
And it was like 4:30.
Yeah, Paula
In the
said the
afternoon.
busiest, I think, was the after work
Yeah.
dinner rush. We had some lines that went
Yeah.
outside. So.
But it
Yeah.
moved really well and they were all very,
Yeah.
it was smooth. So,
I voted at the library in like 2 weeks.
I did
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Early.
I know.
It was pretty busy there.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, the day of voting over there was apparently like,
hours long,
all the
hour
way
late plus
to the
all
end of the
day.
parking lot,
Yeah.
like it was for a presidential election. So,
Mhm.
I have to say that I have really enjoyed the park closed announcements with the broken barricade and the park closed signs on the ground and the person standing there with his dog on a leash with their foot in the tar.
Yeah. I enjoyed them.
It was very good.
Those get
Makes it
traction, that's for sure,
Yeah.
which is what I want, people
Yes.
to see them, so.
We'll see.
Okay, Alderman comments, Lisa,
I have nothing.
Tim?
In regard to the Veterans Memorial thing that one of our neighbors brought up.
Yeah.
In a board meeting, it was turned over then to the Park Commission. I did have a request, sort of a request or a statement that this person wasn't invited. And I said, well, for the park committee, I don't, or the board, we generally don't invite, but for the board meeting, you're welcome to show up and talk about it. And I wasn't sure about the park.
It is an open meeting.
Yeah.
whether
It's an open, yeah,
Those
it's
are
open.
public, yeah, yeah,
That
anybody can attend.
That would be a good thing for him to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because,
it goes for some of the other vets I've talked to in my dog walking portion of my day, seemed interested, so that would be the place for them to
Mhm.
bring up their issues
yeah,
or ideas.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple of them as well and told them we would welcome their feedback, but the response is very positive.
sure.
I mean, some of the ideas might really be
Helpful.
significant.
Yeah, I think really what Park Committee is looking for, they believe it's a great idea as well. They're looking for what should we do? And that's where we really would appreciate their input. Park Committee was supposed to be looking at some other cities and what they're doing, looking at some other examples. They can look at some online too.
So for somebody to show up, does that need to be on the park committee's agenda? Probably just an open discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the next meeting is the 13th, right, August 13th? I think it's next week,
Next week.
next Thursday.
Next
So yeah, if you
Thursday.
wanna invite anybody to come, then.
And it's very preliminary right now, that we're just gathering ideas.
Right.
And again, the other big thing is the placement of where we want this to go.
Location,
Yeah,
The
in the park, yeah,
location of this, so that we have a better idea of
what's possible.
how we would proceed with the size of it, scope of it, and so forth.
Right, and I mean, I think that's where people like that's input would be helpful, because like my initial thought was, oh, and I think of all of these sort of like up that trail, like I've always wanted something at the top of that, but I'm like, that's not really the veterans like trucking it up the hill, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
yeah,
where I'm like,
Accessibility.
I'm thinking of
Yeah.
mine, and then I'm like, okay, that's not really accessible, right? So it's where I think people who, entire heart is that,
Yeah.
would be helpful for what it might look like or what it might be, or we like this one over here or there or whatever, where you could sort of give them some ideas. And yes,
Well,
Jim,
like I
have
suggested,
have the residents, have they gone through the park and do they have an idea of, hey, this would be a great place? Because I think that would be wonderful if we had somebody that said, hey, this area right here would be wonderful to be able to develop.
and one of the guys said that he thought it would be great, and John might have, somebody suggested that across from the bridge where there's a couple of picnic tables, that area there, I suggested that we have a couple of benches and put in like a paving area
we can
and
do stuff.
personalize bricks or pavers
Yeah.
that have the names of veterans, as well as where they served or maybe the years of their service,
Mhm.
which would be a really neat thing because we could add to it. and
Exactly.
Families could suggest, relatives of
Mhm.
people that have lived in Twin Oaks and what have you. So I thought that was a pretty good suggestion.
Mhm.
It's simple,
Mhm.
dignified,
Mhm. Yeah.
but still kind of personal.
But I
Yeah.
think that the people that feel strongly about this will have some good ideas.
I agree.
Um, I did say, well, with the ongoing projects now, it's going to be down the road. It's not going to be.
Yeah.
Out the next year.
Next year, yeah,
But.
late next year, early.
But to collect enough ideas
Mhm.
would be worth it.
Yeah, and the time, I mean, they're gonna come up with, eventually the park committee will come forward with like a here and a maybe these couple of options or whatever, right? But like, what we want is to be able to have that information before we build a budget for next year to see if that's something we can fit into the
Right.
budget, because,
That's true.
that's what will help us decide if we can possibly fit it in next year, or if it'll have to come into that following year. But
Yeah, and that's coming up shortly.
exactly,
October,
exactly,
yeah.
I know.
Very good. Now, next.
Did it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you
Already.
sneeze?
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Bless you.
Any final citizen comments?
Nothing online.
Okay. With that, take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. So I'm gonna tell Brian last time.